Hello guys, in this session, we are going to understand the concept of looping. Mainly, we'll be focusing on two different types of loops, that is for loop and while loop. So a lot of times when we are writing shell scripts, we need to execute a particular command multiple times. Means we have to iterate it again and again based on some set of conditions. So bash for loop in bash programming is a statement which allows code to be repeatedly executed. It is classified as an iteration statement. It is the repetition of a process within a bash script. So let me give you a very basic example. Let's suppose I'm writing a table of 5. I will be writing 5 times 1 is equals to 5. 5 times 2 is equals to 10. 5 times 3 is equals to 50. And so on till 5 times 10 is equals to 50. I want to write a program that takes the number from user and prints the table, right? So in this, you see that you are doing a multiplication step. How many times you are doing it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 till 10. So 10 times you are executing one command. That command actually executes 5 multiplied by, you can say, x is equals to result of multiplication, right? So the value of x is changing from 1 till 10. Rest everything is, this number remains same and the result also changes. So it means this multiplication step is getting executed 10 times. So how we are going to implement this? There can be some other situations and scenarios as well in which you have to execute a command repeatedly. At that time, concept of looping comes in picture. Let me give you example of a very basic usage, like you want to print hello 10 times. You want to print hello 10 times. I know the count. I want to run this 10 times. So it is a numeric value. So in that case, what you have to do, the syntax is for variable. You will define any variable. In most of the programming books, you will see the variable as I. In means how many times you want to execute. I want to print 10 times. 1 space 2 space 3 space 4 space 5. So what will happen? This is acting as a counter. It starts from 1, keep on going till it reaches this. So now we have written this. After that, there will be one block called do and done. Let's suppose you are executing one command here, echo hello. So what will happen? For loop starts. The first value of this counter, this variable is acting as a counter, or you can call it as a variable, or you can call it as a looping variable, which is actually going to decide how many times whatever you write in do and done will be executed. So between this block, do and done, whatever you will be writing, that will be repeated number of times specified by this particular range. Okay, so let's try this. So let me specify I'm just going to copy paste this piece of code So let's try to see what exactly is happening. Let me make it executable. So what exactly we are doing here? I want this command to be executed 10 times. One thought was, I will just do this one. I will write this command 10 times in my code. But that is not a good practice. For that, we have been given a concept of looping. We'll be making use of loops to have a smaller piece of code. So what is going to happen? Counter starts from I. When I is 1, it goes into this loop, prints it, comes back, increments the counter to 2, goes in this, executes this, comes back, 3, 4, 5, till it reaches this last value. So according to this concept, we will see that this command will be executed 10 times. Let's check. See, hello is printing 10 times. Let me modify this. So as I'm telling you, every time the counter is getting incremented, the first time when it enters this loop, the value of I is 1. It enters the loop, it is all good, it executes and comes back. Now the value is 2. So how can we verify that? As I was telling you that I is a variable, let me consume the value of I in the loop. Hello $I times. So what will happen the first time? It will come hello 1 times. Then it goes back hello 2 times, 3 times. So this way we'll also be able to understand this is the counter. Its value is getting incremented. And based on this, you will also come to know how many times this block of code is getting executed. It will be dependent on the range which you will specify here. You see? So now, the first time it entered for I in 1, starts with 1, goes into the loop. The value of I is also getting carried forward. So hello 1 time, then comes back 2. Hello 2 times. Hello 3 times. So it means whatever you will give here, this variable will take 1 by 1, performs the execution in the loop and comes back. Correct? Let's suppose if I have to execute this 50 times, then you know what? Writing these numbers up to 50 will not be a good option, right? So this is what we have seen right now. For variable, you will specify 1, 2, 3 numbers, and this is looping with numbers. Okay. If you have a big set of numbers, how you will be specifying the range? To specify the range, I will tell you easiest option. Just use these round brackets, 1 dot dot 25. I want to print it from 1 till 25. I don't have to specify each and every number separated by spaces. I can do it like this. Initially, I was doing like this, but it is not a good practice to write all the numbers in one line like this. You can always specify a range for loop. See, this is easy. So now let's take one step forward. This was looping with numbers. We also learned the range, like you can do it like this. Okay, if this is a small range, you can write like this, but if it is a big, you don't need to specify each and every number. You can just give a starting point and ending point like this. Okay. So now this is looping with numbers. Let me show you an example with the looping with strings. I'm specifying the shell which I want my script to use. There's always a best practice to add these comments. So in this example, the variable is I. It can be anything. Element. So for element in hydrogen, lithium, so I want so what will happen when it will start? The first value will be hydrogen, then it goes inside the loop, comes back, element will be the value of this variable will be to the set to the next value which you have written in this range, and accordingly it will be used. I will be using $element. So in this particular set of values, these are all string values, set of words, not numbers. So let's try to understand it one more time. So there are for loop is starting. This is a variable. This variable will first have this value, then it goes to the loop, comes back, gets updated to this value, goes inside the loop, and then this is the last value of the loop, will go and does that. Okay. So the advantage of looping is if there is anything you want to run multiple times, there are like this in this for loop, there are 3 iterations. In this for loop, there are 10 iterations. Iteration means to say how many times your loop will be executed. So let me run this for you. So it is printing these string values. Let me give you one more example in which we will try to print the table. Vi print table.sh. We will be taking one number from user. User will be giving the number while executing the script using positional parameters. Okay, positional parameters, as we learned, will be the values which we will pass while executing the script. So other way is I can ask the user using read command to give the value, or give the value to the script while you will be executing that. So we'll be printing the table. So how we will be printing? So I will say for I, let me name it as a counter. For counter in, the name of the variable is counter. I want to start it from 1, goes till 10. Here I will be having one variable called result. So what it will be having, like we discussed mathematical calculations, arithmetic calculations, we will be doing like this. Okay. So in this case, we are inside the loop. We are going to calculate the value. So number is the number given by the user. I will be using it as capital NUM. Okay. Star counter. So like I told you, we will be using 2 round braces. So this is how we will be using these numbers. Echo $num. When you are executing this arithmetic expression, you don't need to use dollar. This is what we discussed when we were discussing mathematical calculations, right? How you will be doing arithmetic calculations. So I'm telling $num multiply by dollar counter is equals to dollar result. So this will print the table. So let's try to understand that first. Let's suppose the user gave the number as 5. It enters the for loop. The value of counter is 1. So 5 multiplied by 1 gets calculated, results. Variable will have the result. After that, you are printing that. Goes to the next. Loop is still not over. Loop is still not over. So now this loop has to run 10 times. This calculation has to be done 10 times, right? 5 multiplied by 1, 5 multiplied by 2, till it goes to 5 multiplied by 10 and prints the result. Every counter is doing 2 things: calculating the value, printing the result. So let's try to understand the concept again. This is the, okay, so you see there is a typo mistake here. We have to so this is the shell my script will be using. This is the description. Number. So I will be giving one number like this. This is the position number 1. So this will be consumed by the script like this. So this variable will have number 5. If I will pass 6, it will have 6. So now I have to print the table till 10. Counter starts with 1 to 10. For 1, it will calculate and print the result. So this will be num is 6 multiplied by 1. Result gets saved here, and I'm just printing it here. So let's check. See, this prints the table in the format. Okay. Let's suppose I am just updating this value. I want to print it till 20. We'll just change this value. It prints till 20. We want to print it 15. So it prints that many times. So what exactly happens? When it goes to this loop, it calculates, saves the results, and then prints the result. Same thing is done for number 2, number 3, till it goes to the last value in this loop, that is 10. So how many times this loop is getting executed? We can get to know from this result.